Well friends, I'm Jen.
I'm Chris.
Welcome to the Sunshine Farm where we have a lovely rainbow and two adorable little barn cats, and we're gonna give you a quick, and a wasp. We're gonna give you a quick spring farm tour. Just some updates on what our life looks like this spring on the farm and take you around. There's a double? Oh yeah. So cool. Just goes up into the sky.
It's really cool.
Turn around.
Why?
Hi guys!
Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see.
I got mine. Do you wanna record? You got yours. So beautiful right now.
Great.
It's been like so rainy.
Trust you when you say
Come on, baby.
that beauty lives in me.
Wiggle worm.
Don't rock it. Walk underneath me, goofball.
So welcome to our farm. If you're new here, we live on 12.5 acres in western upstate New York on our plant-based homestead. First, we're gonna feed that noisy goat over there. So let's go see the goats. Take care of that noise situation. We have 4 goats. We rescued 3 goats through a humane society about 3 years ago? Almost 3 years ago. One of them was pregnant when we adopted her. So she had a baby in December of 2017. So she is 2.5, and she's the one who's the loudest and the neediest. He's going to feed them. They live here in this little goat pen. So we got those 2. We've got 2 over there in the shelter. And we built this shelter off the barn for them. We still have to wall it in. So we got these 4 goats. We also have 2 other hooved friends, our 2 horses. We're gonna go close up the pasture for the night because they'll overeat. Hi horses! They like to come over and say hi, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I do not want to walk on. Hi! So this is TJ, the big one. Okay, don't walk right into me. Thank you very much. And then this is a little guy, little J-man. Our horses are super safe, super friendly, but you always have to be careful around horses because you never know, they're huge animals. So I'm always a little bit more aware when I have my camera and I'm trying to manage them. Sometimes they'll try to play with each other, and to make sure that we don't get stepped on or run into or fall over, especially since I have a baby in my belly and I have to be extra safe because I do not want to get kicked by a horse, which has never happened to me, but do not want it to be a first. Hi, handsome boys. Hi. And he's a total camera hog. He'll follow me anywhere I go. Huh?
So you're stepping in food.
I know. Okay, I just want a break from you.
He's very annoying right now.
So we just had a quick detour because one of our horses gets eaten by flies, gets scabbed up, and so we were just treating it with some prevention, making sure that it didn't get infected or anything like that, and putting some cream on it to protect it. But we have a cool weekend coming in, so that will be nice. Luckily,
yeah, should help them out.
Luckily decrease in flies. Good morning, friends. It's the next morning because the wind picked up and we decided to go inside. So we're continuing the tour into the next day, and we still have
cats.
still have cats.
It's more wet.
Just wet paths. It also rained a lot last night, so everybody's got wet paths. Last night we showed you guys the goats and the horses, our hooved animals. And now we're going to just introduce you real quickly to our 2 chicken flocks. Well, we have 3, but let's start with the 2 that are over here by the goats. Goats, horses back there, barn, and then these 2 coops and runs. In this coop over here, we have our standard size chickens, all different breeds and colors and ages, but they're all like standard sized, which means they're not bantams. So we've got, how many do we have in here now? So we have 10 hens in here now, and they have this little coop, this nice big run. We used to, the first year and the second year we had them, we used to do a lot of free ranging, supervised, and we just had 2 losses and a lot of issues with that because of foxes.
Yeah.
And since we stopped having that time, then the foxes started leaving us alone, and the chickens don't have to worry about being taken. So it's just so much better for us to not free range, unfortunately.
And honestly, I probably would choose free range more since I watch them more often, but like having the garden in its fully formed state now, it makes it kind of tough because I have to constantly police them to make sure they're out of the garden. So
yeah, so we do want to fence in the garden at some point, so we could free range them again. I don't know, it's pretty hard to wrangle them in when they're free ranged, and with the fox issues, you have to wrangle them in if you can't be out here watching them. This is our silky coop. Got this kind of sassy boy rooster here. We also have 2 standard sized chickens over there that were being bullied. So we introduced them to the silkies and they've done much better. There's our other rooster, John Ralphio.
the silkies are just such a gentle breed of chicken and not confrontational. The roosters are very unintimidating.
We've had issues with our standard flock where certain birds will get picked on really, really badly to the point where they get like sick and they look really unhealthy. And we'll try, rearranging them. We'll try putting them in like a separate area for a while and letting them heal and reintroducing them, and it just nothing seems to work except for taking them out of the flock. So the silky flock is kind of our bully-proof flock.
Our gentle flock.
Our gentle flock. So if we have an issue with the other group, which we've had, and specifically with one chicken, we're able to partner her up with one of her friends and move them into the silky flock, and they've done fantastically. They still do their own thing and they live kind of more on their own, but the silkies don't mind them.
No,
they don't bother them. And the silkies are so cute and fluffy, they're good little friends to have. So we have 2 roosters, Bollywood and John Ralphio, and they do great together. Both of them actually hatched here on the farm, and when all the roosters that have pretty much hatched here have stayed here. We have like a lot of roosters for that reason. But John Ralphio and Bollywood live together just fine. They have tiffs every now and then, but nothing ever dramatic and nothing that's ever caused pain.
No.
So I think it's just the quiet nature of the silky and the fact that John Ralphio is such a calm, docile, and
he's a great rooster.
He's an awesome rooster. He's like
clearly above Bollywood, who's a sassier one with humans. But John Ralphio is super friendly and kind to humans and
he's
very
friendly
respectful.
And he's fluffy, but he also watches over all his fluffy friends. And he alerts them when there's food and weeds to pick on. And he's so cute. Hey John, come over here. Come here. Look at him. He's so cute. What's your name?
I don't have a name for either of those cute.
Oh, Sage. Nope, Basil. Basil.
The silkies are constantly broody. That's one of the interesting things about the silkies. So at any given time, we have probably 2 or 3 silkies who are hanging out in the coop, laying on eggs.
Trying to make babies.
Yeah, so I constantly have to be removing the eggs to make sure they don't try to hatch them.
At some point we may, let them hatch out some babies again, but we have to make sure we have capacity to care for all of them. And right now we don't really have any more capacity for roosters. We don't really want to expand our flocks, and it just makes sense for us to remove the eggs. As sad as it makes the silkies, it's for their own good. It's for their own cleanliness and space. So no babies on the farm this year. They do love being mothers, and they're the cutest mothers. They're really cute. They're moms. So this is the area where we have the barn, we have the goats, we have the chickens, and then off of the barn are the pastures for the horses As you can see, this barn has been remodeled from last year when it was red and had a completely flat roof and the door was over to the left. So we've made a lot of changes to the barn and are continuing to this year. Over near the barn, we have 3 raised beds with garlic, raspberries, and peppers right now, and some mint and another little herb bed. We're going to get wood chips around this whole area so we don't have to worry about trimming down the grass. So behind me, you can see we have just a lot of pasture, which right now we have a lot of buttercup growing in it, and it's the perfect time to go ahead and brush hog everything. And then we have about like 2.5 acres of woods over on this side. That's where we tap a lot of our maple trees and forage for berries. We have lots of wild grapes and just a lot of woods to explore that we haven't done a lot with, except for just letting it be. But we do want to clear it out a little bit, get rid of some of the smaller trees and allow the mature trees to get bigger and be able to maintain it a little better. But right now it's purely permaculture space, just wild. And then over here behind us we have like a whole play set for, you know, kids, which we do not have kids
We did
yet.
not install either.
What?
So we did not install it.
We did
either.
not install the play set because we did not have children when we moved in, but we do have a baby in the oven. So we've decided we're gonna keep that, and probably over the next couple years we'll paint it and we'll make it nicer, and we'll turn this into like an actual play area with wood chips down and some nice little stuff so that our future little baby can enjoy playing out here on the farm.
Yeah, I don't think we ever expected to use this for our own children. We were kind of, you know, contemplated selling it or doing something with it at different times.
Yeah, it just makes sense to keep it around.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to take you guys over to a couple other things to show you. One of them being our vintage Airstream. Let me just show you guys what we have going on over here in our vintage collection. So the Airstream is 1970.
70.
And it's a 31-foot Sovereign Airstream that we're going to, I'm going to stand on my tippy toes because I like shrink, that we're going to turn into a like tiny house that could be fully livable and off the grid. And we're going to rent it out for short or long-term rental here in the farm, and eventually maybe live in it and move somewhere and live in it until we find, you know, another property somewhere. I'm not sure. We don't want to be in New York forever.
Just a dream machine.
It's basically just a big dream machine. And we were gonna work on it this spring, but with the baby on the way, we have to remodel some things, or we don't have to. We're choosing to remodel some of our home to make it more functional for having a baby. And we still have the barn to work on, so I think we need to finish those 2 projects, or at least get them to a good spot before diving into the Airstream. That's going to be so time intensive. It's probably going to take about 2 years if
Definitely
like working on it full.
But really fun.
Yeah, so we are really excited. We're going to, you know, find reclaimed materials. We're going to do it all ourselves. But cool dream, and we got it for a total steal. So it was, we'll probably never find a deal like that again on a vintage Airstream, and it's not like they're going to become more available suddenly. So that's pretty cool. Do you want to just mention the tractor?
Sure. So this is a Ford 871 that we bought last November at an auction, and it's runs really well, honestly. We got it for a really good price, and I'm just doing some maintenance on it right now. But it's our first tractor, so we're really excited and happy that we're gonna be able to use it to brush hog, use it to plow the snow in the winter.
Snow the plow?
Snow the plow in the winter. Yeah, so it's just gonna be really useful to have on hand, and something that's, you know, it's older, so it's kind of easier to fix up with less electronics and things like that. So.
And the nice thing about this property too is that everything is like really close to our house. So like it's not a far walk to the barn, especially in the winter. It's really close to the animals, and then the garden is like right behind the house. Garden, house. Orchard, house. Animals, house. I'm just gonna walk past the gardens and just point things out as we go. If you want to see more of the garden, I did a full garden tour, and I'm going to be doing weekly garden tours on Mondays. So we have our permaculture, hugelkultur bed here. We've got garlic, some beans, my favorite plant ever, the artichoke, and a bunch of other stuff. Another bed, perennial herb garden and tea garden. We have our newest addition to the garden over here, our mini berms and swales that are going to continue back and going to continue here. And then once the roosters have cleaned out this area, they're going to continue that way. Some strawberries, little white flowering things, and a fruit tree and a couple berry bushes. The rooster boys.
Bro coop.
The bro coop. We had issues with having a rooster in with our hens because of overmating. We had a rooster that was being aggressive towards one hen and actually causing her like trauma. Like she was terrified of him and wouldn't leave the coop, and she was looking really bad. So we've had roosters in with our main flock of hens, and it just hasn't gone well. So I had heard you can house roosters together in a coop without hens and they can live like more peacefully. The one on the top gets chased around and bullied a little bit more, but honestly he kind of deserves it. He's not very nice and it keeps him in line. I think they're trying to keep him in line that way. And then the other three are all fine. Their names are Jim and Jim Jr. and Dwight Jr., inspired by The Office. They live here in this large electric netting area with a small little A-frame coop, and they do just fine. They actually already cleared this section of the garden. They did a really good job. So there weren't very many weeds and it was mostly just soil. So we were able to quickly turn this into a usable garden. And then we're hoping they do the same in here. Right now we're standing in our food forest and orchard space. We still have to work on this quite a bit. Lots of mulching and trimming to do. But we have probably a collection of, I don't know, 25 fruit and nut trees. Hazelnut is the only nut we have in here right now. And then we have like peaches and pears and apples and cherries and plums and a number of berry bushes, the different kinds of berry bushes. I'm just gonna briefly just show you a couple of the plants, and I will do a more full tour of this soon. We have a hazelnut and a basil.
Basil nut.
A basil nut. And then we have this like tree line behind us that actually produces a lot of berry bushes, like wild black-cap raspberries, as well as maple syrup from these box elder maple trees. We have some berry bushes, more hazelnut. We have a little peach tree over here that looks like it has its first little fruit on it. Right there. Jerusalem artichoke, and just a bunch of other stuff. You can see little bushes popping up where there's hazelnuts and fruit trees. So last time I looked at this bush, it was just leaves, and now it's full of blossoms just everywhere. These are all going to be blackberries. So exciting. Oh my gosh, so many blackberries. So all of this right in here is black-cap raspberries. So where you can see these little blossoms will be wild raspberries, but they look more like blackberries. Oh, and this big giant brush pile, which people probably have questions about. So that giant brush pile came from these two really large trees that were in or around the garden, that their roots were really intense and going into the garden, and they were shading out the garden like crazy, and so we really just needed to cut them down. Pile represents the remnants of them. I think we're going to turn this into another hugelkultur at some point.
When we can get the materials to lay on top of it.
Yeah, when we can get like enough topsoil delivered to put down, maybe enough hay or wood chips. It's gonna be a while, probably.
Yeah.
There's really no rush. We'll let this sit and rot for.
It's currently a bird habitat. So
this is one of the trees, and then the other tree is over there. Both of those trees were very tall, you know, very tall, and now they're over here, and they will become life again eventually. So that's the farm, the bulk of it. I'm sure there's other spots that I could show you. Thank you for being here, we'll see you guys soon. Bye, friends.